Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. I can't see a picture yet. There we go. Okay, so market is just open. We've had same again, very little volume again. Very little volume. Speedy, how you doing, bud? So I don't know what's going on with this market. We had sod all volume yesterday, really. And it's slow this morning as well. Let me just reload my historic. So market is open, but it's not doing a great deal at the moment. Usually it sort of moves pretty quick, but it's all right. I've just reloaded my historic. Okay, that's all right. Just adjusting a few. Beautiful. Okay. So Ionis, how you doing, bud? So the volume's so low. Who the hell is trading? It's unreal, isn't it? So we've got a bit of a channel going up there with what looks like a break. Now I wouldn't be shocked if we just had sideways again. So I'm just going to put that there like that and see what happens. Maybe a little bit higher than that. Actually, I'm just going to pop that up. Let's just move that up there. There's definitely some tops there. So that's actually not a bad fit. So now on that NQ there is a lovely second entry long. Wow. Just quickly, that NQ, that is an absolute peach. 2 legs back, nice bullish bar. Channel working up, that's a nice looking trade, that is. Unfortunately, we haven't really got anything here, which is a shame. Let's see if that works. Should work. You've got a channel going up with a break. Trouble is, you don't know when we're going to be making tops. That's the problem, see. It's all good and well. Well, look at that. Clear 2 legs down, nice bullish bar, clearly working up in there. So, I don't know, would you consider that an overshoot? It's a very small one. And look at that. You wouldn't have expected that to fail, would you? Trouble is, well, that is surprising. So let's just have a look at this. So it actually fits really nice in there. It's clearly a break back to the EMA push up. It's a second entry long. It's actually a nice looking second entry long. And you wouldn't expect that to happen. That channel fits nice. I suppose the only downside is we're making range tops, which, I mean, I took a loss yesterday. I took a second entry long yesterday and it didn't work. So I'm taking less and less second entry longs and waiting for the higher low because they're just not, one, there's not a lot around, and two, they're just unreliable. Leg, there's a bullish bar there, but Christ, it's actually a triple test.
Order submitted.
God, Bennett, I'm so tempted to take this, but I'm concerned because it's so high. I do not want to start the day with a loss.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, another reason that this, in fact, I'm wondering whether this is trapping them. I think it is, you know. It's actually a failure, that, isn't it?
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
It's getting a bit donus. It may work, that one. It probably will. See, it's a triple test long, but the trouble is you've got all this there, so it's just... It's just dangerous.
Order submitted.
What is going on here? It just kicked me off. Oh, too late, damn it. Oh, what is going on here?
Order cancelled.
That would have worked as well. Would that have worked? Yeah, it would have done. That's a shame. That's why I hate bloody buy stop orders or sell stop orders. If you drop it the same time price hits it, it just kicks it off. God, that's annoying. H. Access to wait. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's why I never took that one. I expected it to go up. That second entry along on the NQ was a nasty trap. Yeah, it was, mate, wasn't it? I thought that was so unfair. But look, that channel fits nice. It's fitting nice. Look, it's fitting lovely. And then we had two nice legs down and a lovely bullish bar. Triggered, stopped out. That's annoying, that is. The only thing I can think of is we're making range tops. That's the only reason why it would probably fail. Now, there was two legs back. That looked quite nice, but you've got to be out before the highs. Now, if you put it around that line, you'd have been okay there, but I'm not taking a risk in that little bit there. It's just not worth it. There is a possible lower high there. Yeah, it is. Price on the NQ looks like it's coming down. My chart looks different. I've reloaded mine, bud. You reload yours, yeah?
Order submitted.
What I like is we've had a failed breakout there, a breakout which is failed and pushed in, but it's triggered and that's coming down. And the NQ is looking bearish, so I actually quite like that.
Order filled.
I like the fact that it's trapped that. Oh, bounced off my order. Look at that.
Order filled.
God for that. Let's just check everything's right. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh dear, I like it. We've had a breakout. We've made 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 3 attempts failure. I actually did take a short there, which would have worked as well. But there's a lower high, and I like the fact that we've had a little breakout there, which is failed. It's triggered and come down, and also, God, that's made my face go really hot. That has. Flipping hell, I didn't like that trade. When I saw that, this is looking very bearish as well, so I think there's a fair chance it's going to come down at least to that midline. Wow, I tell you what, my face has just felt like it burned up there. I'm just finding trading a bit stressful lately. I don't quite know why, but that did what it was supposed to, so 2 points. Weird, strange. I was tempted to hold on there. And then when I saw that to me is I'm back testing this little strategy, and a lot of people say it's one of Al Brooks's apparently. Whenever we get a channel like this, which I call a double channel, which is wide enough for like 2 bars, whenever we get a bullish bar that finishes close to its highs, it crosses over and comes down. We sort of did it there. We came down. It's a bit too earlier on there, but if you'd have shorted there, it's a strategy I'm looking at. And what it is I'm looking at a 1-to-1 risk. So where that bar closed, that would be 8 ticks, and that would be my profit. So as soon as that bar closed, hopefully quite bullish, it tends to cross over. Sometimes it'll trigger it, but usually always comes down, and usually you're in and out for your 8 ticks before that bar close, which would have worked. So it's an 8 tick risk, an 8 tick profit. So the most you're risking on a trade is $200, which I kind of like, because this can be $350. Do you know what I mean? So I'm marking these bars with something. Let me think, what can I use? Because what I'm thinking, don't get me wrong, I love Pats, but there's just not a huge amount of setups lately. It just feels really tough. It was easy when I started 3 years ago, but it does feel tough. So, I don't know anyway, with how slow and chop it is. I've been this week, I only feel comfortable with 6 ticks, yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's mentioning the word comfortable, mate, because I feel a bit uncomfortable at the moment. The reason I usually tend to go for between 2 points and 10 ticks, but the ATR is 2.5 points at the moment. It is tough, mate. You're not wrong. Patterns, see daily, starting to test them for trades. Yeah, it is hard lately. But what I keep trying to tell myself is I like to try and get a trade in a day, but forcing it is just risky. So I just keep trying to remind myself that I go for around about $200 profit, sometimes 10 ticks. So with fees, let's say an average of $200. If I do 3 winning trades a week, and if you're super careful and you take the best setups, and I mean really good setups, the ones that jump out at you, you'll win 90% of them if you're an half-decent scalper. 90% is not that difficult, but you've got to be incredibly disciplined. And I would say you definitely get 3 quality setups in a week. So if I took those 3 quality setups, that would give me an average of $600, which over a month is $2,400. Now, let's say at very worst, it's a shit month, things go wrong, and you only end up with $1,000, less than half of that. On 10 accounts, that's $10,000 per month. That's on a terrible month. Now, if on a bad month I earned $10,000, I'd still be pretty happy with that. So I just keep trying to remind myself, don't rush it, take your time. You don't have to find a trade in a day. The trouble is sometimes when you're hearing, I do watch a little bit of Patrick Whelan or Welland, and also trades by Matt as well. And they keep talking about $400 a day. I like to have that one. And they're only trading 2 contracts. And I'm thinking, what strategies are they using which are giving them that type of regular profit? Because we're just struggling with Pats, which is another reason why I'm just monitoring this type of setup. That is a perfect example. Now, I would prefer that slightly more bullish, but whenever we get that type of swing trading, yeah, I know what you mean. But the trouble is with swing trading, can you rely on an average of $400 a day? It's hard to say. We may be getting a couple of these. I'm just finding second entries are unreliable as well. Now, there was a second entry that, well, not technically because that one broke high, but it was clearly 2 legs back. And that actually worked, but we have got these highs, so the chances are it's going to struggle. You know, like Max says, if you ever take a trade, we need to get out before the tops. And technically, I always like to get out, and I mention this a lot, I always like to get out at the body. The bodies, can you see where the bodies are there? Because I find they're more reliable. And look at that, by 2 ticks. If I got out at the highs, even there, it probably wouldn't have taken my profit. So I always like to get out at the tops, at where the bodies close, the highest point which is there, and that would have worked. But yeah, this is something I am monitoring because it's actually a very, very simple strategy. Whenever you get a channel this wide, whenever we're coming like down and we get a bullish bar, I prefer slightly more bullish. It crosses over and drops. Sometimes it'll push up and trigger it. But these tend to work. They're so reliable and they're very simple. It's a strategy you can pick up in minutes, really. That's if you can already trade. But nice tight channel, what I call double width, you know, as opposed to something like that. Slightly wider, and then whenever you get a bar in the opposite direction, i.e. a bullish bar here, crossed straight over, went up a tick, came straight down. You'd have been out in and out for 2 points, and I like that for a 1-to-1 risk. 8-tick risk, 8-tick profit. That way, if you lose a trade, you're only losing a maximum of $200. And if you got even if you were trading it on an evaluation, you'd have to lose 14 trades in a row to blow an account. So it's a relatively, I wouldn't say risk-free, but it's certainly something you could trade 2 contracts on. I'm almost giving up second entries. I'm waiting for higher lows now. I took one yesterday. That one on the NQ, there, channel up. I quite liked it. We'd only been up here, but what I will say is we've been up to the top of the range channel here, the top of the channel here, and this push up, we've only got just above that mid. So it makes sense we're going to have a break here, which we did. 2 legs back, it is a second entry long and a nice bullish bar, and it is trapping a short. But it didn't work. Now, sometimes it'll trigger you, stop you out, and maybe have 2 legs down to here and then push up, but that one just completely turned. So the only only reason I've got is sometimes when it does that, it's making range tops, but it's unusual to make range tops with 2 bars. You know, if we had a break in it and it made another one or another one, I mean, look at the NQ. That's what I call creating range tops, not just 1 bar. Let's put that there. But that, I think, was a really nice trade. We've pushed up. We've made 1 attempt, 2 attempt, 3 attempt. You could call it a triple test, that one. That initially, I got into that one. I liked it because there's going to be longs in there thinking we may get another leg up. And for me, we're clearly bumping, aren't we? Do we have a second entry right now? Yeah, well, technically it's not really. That's your signal bar, but it's 2 legs up and a bearish bar, but I wouldn't take that one. And I'll tell you why. Look at the NQ at the moment. We've come down and bounced off that level. So I'd expect that to at least reach the EMA. Would I expect it to come down? Maybe not. So that's the good thing about having the NQ, because there's no way I would take a short here on the NQ. So why would I take a short here at that? It never triggered anyway, but yeah, I mean, if that was a bearish bar, it's actually not a bad looking setup. But my concern is it's bouncing off that midline, and you can see there's support along there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and it's using that midline as support. We came down and bounced off it. We bounced off the top of it. We bounced on the underside again. We came back and bounced again. So it's hard lately. It seems way more technical than it was 2 or 3 years ago. Ordinarily, if this is a top, you'd be thinking range, in which case you'd expect it to come down to here at least. Now, I know sometimes when we push up in it, it'll come back and it might range between a certain level, but I'd say at least I'd expect it to come down to that level there where there's clearly a lot of support. You can see that there, it fits nice. And sometimes it does this. We have a leg down a level and it'll go bounce, 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 but it didn't even get down to here. Whether it will, it may do, or sometimes it'll come down halfway, it'll make another attempt and then come down, so in which case you'll have a leg and a leg. But yeah, it's just... What I would say to you at the moment, any newer guys, I would be very careful taking second entry shorts. The thing that's going to tell you that's coming down is the lower high, a really nice lower high about here. Then the chance of that coming down is very high. Then was hoping for a higher low off. That's fell second entry. Yeah, it is. It's. You know, I know you'd expect trading to get easier and easier. I actually find it's harder, maybe just because that's the way it is. But yeah, it does seem hard. We may actually come down now for another leg. Reason I'm saying that now is on that NQ. After that, well, excuse me a second. Sorry about that. So channel down there. There may have been a small break there, but I'm not convinced. You can up that a touch. In fact, I'll up that a little bit more. Pull that in a bit. And then call that the bottom and that the bottom. So I actually like that channel. Touch, 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 touch. That's a nice channel. Now, will it come down here? Ordinarily, you know, if you listen to Thomas Wade, according to market rules, you're looking for price to come down there. But so far, down, up, down, it's showing a range characteristics, isn't it? So, as we know, range, it bounces off the bottoms and bounces off the top. So, it may make an attempt. Sometimes it does, but then pushes up. So, I'd just be careful about getting into a short at the moment. But just keep that in mind about second entries, because that one would have fooled a lot of people there. 2 legs down. It is a second entry. It is a second entry after the break of the channel. I wouldn't consider that a range because we've only just... The reason I'd expect that to break is because obviously in the channel, we bounce off... Excuse me a second. Sorry. We come from the tops to from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. We didn't get far there, but there is some support there, but eventually we did. We came to the top again. We came back. This time we pushed. We only got so far up to that midline, so that would tell me I'd expect a break because we were lacking momentum, and we did get a break, and we actually got two legs back. It's a channel with a break and a new low. You are trapping a bear bar there, and it's pushed up on its high, so I'd expect that to at least come to this, but it didn't work. So the only thing I can think about is well, yeah, there's nothing really there. We're sort of in the middle of it, aren't we? So I don't know. There's probably a reason. My experience of price action, there's always a reason. Mac is saying that's how the markets used to be pre-COVID. I hate hearing those words. I hate hearing those words. That's like saying you thought you had a career in trade and think again. But yeah, I know what you mean. To be honest with you, I've been trading 3 years now. I know people like Brant's been trading that sort of era. He's someone I've chatted to on and off throughout the Facebook group. And even when I started 3 years ago, you'd expect 2 to 3 trades a day. You really would. And you know, I'm seeing trades. I'd say I'm averaging about 3 to 4 trades a week. So, you know, by Max saying that it is pre-COVID, yeah, I absolutely get it. Having said that, you can still make one hell of a lot of money on 3 trades a week. It just means you've got to sit a bit longer and be a bit more patient. It's at the high low, confirming the short. That one there. Yeah. The reason I wouldn't take that is not that I think it's a bad trade. We've come off the tops. Sometimes it'll make an effort to go up and then come down. Another reason that I'd be wary about that personally is after that, we're doing a bit of sideways back at the EMA. So there is a possibility it could come down a bit lower. But I don't think it's a bad trade. It's just one that I wouldn't personally take myself. And not only that, we've got a nice fitting channel there, and that may be a bit of an overshoot. So there's so many decisions to make in your brain. It's why it takes so long to learn to trade, experience with things like this, you know, reasons to get in and out. It's trading has got to be the biggest grey area job there is. Nothing's straightforward. It's not black and white. There's so much about judgment. And not only learning the setups, then you've got so many different variations of risk. You know, Chad, your risk, you might say, I don't mind the losing trades, I'm playing the numbers, I'm going to take winning trades, I'm going to take trades that give me a 75%. Personally, I like to go for the 85s to 90s, but if you take them at 70%, you're going to make money. So that's what I mean. There's so many different ways to take profits. You know, some people just play the numbers. A good example of someone who plays the numbers is Bart Fly. He plays the numbers. He'll take 4 or 5 trades a day. He always seems to make money, but he'll just play the setups. They're maybe slightly higher risk, but he takes them anyway. So some people, you know, look at trading like that. You know, some strategies have a 50% win rate, but you may risk 1 to make 2. In other words, they're profitable, but it means you're going to be losing half your trade. So it depends how you look at it, really. You know, like Mac says, it's funny though. You know, Mac will point at a green arrow at a risky trade, but if you notice, every single arrow he points at wins. So, yeah, I would call that maybe a risky trade. That triple test there, I would call that a slightly more riskier one, but I was prepared to do it because I could see, for me, this was struggling and we were creating range tops and it would have worked. It didn't trigger till that bar there, and as soon as that bar came down, broke below there, would have made those points. Because I noticed that it's not looking good on the NQ for going up, so that was another reason why I jumped in there, but unfortunately it went down without picking me up, but I took the next best thing. I like that because guaranteed there's going to be some people going long, fading the breakout, and it triggered when that came down below that. For me, it's coming down, and the NQ was looking bearish at the time, so another reason to take that. So I consider that a nice lower high. It's actually technically a second entry short as well. First entry, it breaks above there, it comes down, breaks below there. It's a second entry short, lower high, trapping the longs, trading the fade. That's a nice trade there. Part of me wanted to take a bit more profit because I had a feeling it was going to come down, but trouble is you've either got to be flexible and swap and change, or you've got to stick to an amount. And at the moment, I feel nervous in trades, so I think the best thing for me to do is to stick to, 10 ticks or 2 points and just leave it at that. Take my profits without trying to be too greedy. Now, if I had $20,000 in each account, then yeah, you don't mind, because the odd few losers aren't going to make a difference. And if you are going to take bigger profits, then Alpine was unlucky today. His computer on his platform froze and he could not get out positions. Yeah, I tell you what, it's funny you should say that. I was messing around earlier, and I kept getting the orange bar, where it freezes up. It's nothing worse getting into a trade and when something freezes up. I read about that, and it's something to do with a simulated account, because these are sim accounts, aren't they? So although it's got numbers to it, we're still on a simulator. And the only thing that concerns me is looking at Travis, trades by Matt. He trades all 20 of his at the same time. That scares the hell out of me. I'd love to be able to trade 20, because obviously the more you trade, as long as you can, put up with the stress of them, the more you trade, technically, the bigger your wins are. Yeah, after that, you're probably going to get a few shorts there, so that's probably why that worked. So maybe it wasn't a bad setup. I have a channel title with no overshoot. You on about that one there, yeah? I've just changed it. Alpine was unlucky. His computer, oh right. Platform froze. So he trades Quantower, doesn't he? So that might be a leg with a leg. Let me have a look. There is some... Did anybody else take that lower high stroke second entry short? I really liked it, actually. He lost again. Good grief. I was watching one of his videos the other day, and at one point he was down $47,000. I don't know about him, but I nearly shit the bed. I was showing my wife, and she had her mouth open. The trouble is with his strategy, it makes him money, but when it goes wrong, it's tough. So I think he needs to go back to how he used to do it. He only used to do so many, didn't he? But I think I heard him say that he traded all his account, or he's trading more accounts on a copier. The trouble is, on a copier, if something goes wrong on one account, it goes wrong on all of them. He's about out of accounts now, but his strategy will get him back. Yeah. I don't think you can make the money he's made out of luck. He obviously knows what he's doing, and, part of his strategy is that he uses his drawdown as his stop, basically, so when his drawdown's gone, it's gone. But he's making really good money. So, I mean, he's made over $200,000. Okay, see, you see him lose these amounts, but the account technically has only cost him, I think he only pays monthly as well, so only pays the $85. So he's still good at what he does. And unfortunately, if that's his strategy, you've got to, when things go wrong, you've got to be able to sort of take it on the chin. Yeah, he does seem to be having more losing days. Up until recently, I'd only seen him having one in weeks and weeks, and he seems to have had 3 in the last fortnight, doesn't he? Strong trend this is. Let's have a little look. What I will say is we've had a lot of upward movement lately, haven't we? And then we've had a little bit of sidewards, a drop which pulled back quite quickly, another drop which pulled back quite quickly. So yeah, it may be right. Maybe we're now starting to work up. So I actually really like that. I think it's a really nice trade, that. We got a triple test up here, came down, pushed out. I love the way it's tested the underside of that once and twice. There's bound to be longs there because they're going to be thinking high or low. This is coming back into the range. Maybe, see, after the channel, it looks like a couple of legs, doesn't it? So they're going to be thinking 2 legs. Now let's get up. So that actually came down for a few points, I think. Yeah, so 5.25, somewhere around about there. That's the type of trade I'd like to get 3 points on. But that is probably a place where I'd expect it to come down to, or at least maybe to bounce off before it possibly comes down. But yeah, so we got a leg up and another leg up. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get to this. Now, that is an overshoot, whichever way you look at it. So maybe we'll get a correction here and then another push up. It does look quite bullish, and I'd expect it to get up to here. So I'd be looking for a correction. Yeah, I mean, you know, we have losing trades. I had a losing trade yesterday, and Alpine's losing trades are obviously look a little bit more dramatic, don't they? But you know, it's still all part of it. If you think about how much money he's making, and he's been doing it now for, I think he said about 7 or 8 years he's been trading. But I think up until last year, I think the most he'd had in a month was about $6,000. So I did hear him say he's even surprised. But one thing I will say is I know our Pat's strategy doesn't seem to be producing a lot of goods at the moment. But what I will say is it's so easy to watch people like Trades by Matt and Patrick Well and that make a lot of money and think their strategy must be better than ours. There's no easy strategy. There's no easy way of making money out the market. All these strategies, learning the strategy is the easiest part. It's applying it to the correct context. So it doesn't matter what type of strategy you've got. You've still got to apply it to the correct context of the market. And that's the bit that takes time. So, you know, I've had a few people over a while said, oh, I've been doing Pats for a year or a year and a half or something like that. It's just, moving on, trying something different. It's just not working. It's not that it's not working. It's just like any type of strategy. It's learning to read the markets, because you can't apply a strategy to the markets without learning where they're expecting to go. So this trade here, for instance, out of experience, I'm expecting this to come down because the signals are telling me. But unless you've lost here and got trapped here and taken hundreds of trades here, you're not going to know that. And the more experience you get, the better you get at noticing these areas, because you'll see them again and again over time. So, you know, if you are quite new and you've been doing it a year and a half or even a couple of years, it's still not a lot. 2 years to learn to apply a strategy to the correct concept of the market is nothing. It really isn't. You'd think it would be 2 years, but it really isn't. And I've only learned that over time, because I've been doing it 3 years now, and sometimes I still feel like a beginner sometimes. You know, when you're winning trades, your confidence are up, you've got loads of belief, you think you can't lose, then you get hit by a loss or two and it knocks your confidence. But I think over time, when you get long-term consistency, you've obviously got that belief, you know, I'm not doing it, I've done it. No type of thing. But so don't, you know, if you are quite newish, don't get disheartened. You can't earn money like this. I mean, Alpine traded $200,000 in the first 3 or 4 months. You can't earn money like that easy. Nothing comes that easy. You know, so if you are finding it tough, Mac's been doing this strategy for years and years, and he's about as honest as you'll get. You've only got to look at how much he charges people and how little it's gone up over the years and how much effort he puts into it. You know, I live stream, you guys know. You get bugger all from YouTube. It's, you know, realistically, I'd probably get about $30 a month from YouTube. Mac, what does he get? 2,000-3,000. So he may get $70-80 a month from YouTube. So he's not making any money. But he still puts out those videos, and he still only charges $125. So the guy's about as honest as they come. And if it was a duff system, he wouldn't tell you. You know, he wouldn't tell you it was good, and you stick at it. Sorry if I'm waffling a bit, but you know, Mac's been around long enough now. Like you said, this system's tried and tested. The only thing I really change is I go for a bit more points, purely and simply because bars are bigger now. You know, you can't sell stuff in a supermarket and sell it at prices it was 10 years ago. You won't make money. You know, things change. There's a lot more people trading now. There's a lot more money flowing through it. You know, years ago, looking back on some of Mac's videos, and I see him putting 2 or 3 ticks below a signal bar, and it's still only a 0.75 risk. So, overshoot and still a push-up. So, let me have a look at this. Okay, so quick glance at the NQ there. Just clearly sideways, really. Down, up, down, up. So we've had a little channel here with a break. I don't think we've had a break anywhere else. You may argue that, but I don't know. So I think it's likely to go up. So depending on where that comes to. So at the moment, this is just looking a bit rangy. The ES is looking a little bit more bullish. So let's mark that off. So it's a lower high stroke second entry shorts. There's 2 points. So that NQ, that is showing us quite a nice, depending on how it looks, quite a nice second entry long. That's like well, about as second entry longish as you can get. That's if it forms. I just looked at that bar there. If I tighten that channel a bit, there may have been a small break there. I took a trade once, and I mentioned it to Mac, and he went, it's had an overshoot, and I'm not kidding. The overshoot was as big as that. He went, sometimes that's all it takes. So if you think it's had an overshoot, assume it has, and don't automatically go for a long. The trouble is, as we've had this channel down, we've had a push up. We still may, you know, who knows. There's always a possibility that we may have something like that. It's a bit early yet, but you get the idea. So overshoot new high, which it does a lot. Overshoot straight up new high, and then it drops. So let's see what happens. second entry short here, I'm thinking, after that overshoot. Possible. Hey bud, how you doing? What do we call you? Sarah Wesks. You guys have got to make names easier. We call you just S. S. Might be a bit easier. Have you noticed, what's his name? Volatility Trader. Nice guy, actually. He was on the stream. We had a chat for about half an hour a week or so ago. He's been finding it a bit odd. I think yesterday one of his accounts got blown. The trouble is, when you get these PAs, to lose them in a trade just seems a bit harsh to me. I think you've got to have a stop. It doesn't make sense that, look, every trader has losing trades. Now, if you have a losing trade doing his strategy, the accounts get blown. It doesn't make sense. So you've got to have a get out clause somewhere, you would have thought. So let me have a look. Overshoot new high. Are we having a leg down? I would have said after that overshoot and a push up new high, I would expect this to come down, not necessarily have another correction. So if we can get a lower high here, let me just get rid of that. See, at the moment, we've come down at the bottom, we've pushed up, we've had a break. This to me looks like we may get another leg down to try these again and get, if it gets below there, so a lower high here, closing down here wouldn't be a bad call, I don't think. Unfortunately, if that was tick above there, that may have interested me. Trouble is, you're very close to these lows, so ideally you want to be taking that body up here somewhere, not down there. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but higher low, scalp that higher low. Which higher low, bud? You mean lower high? You're on about something like that, are you? You're on about the lower high. First one, I mean. Lower high. Ah, right, yeah. That's what confused me. I wonder if we got something like that. Touch, see what happens. A couple of touches there. After that overshoot new high, are we going to get a correction and then move on up? Who knows? Second entry short there, channel down with a break. 2 attempts to go higher. Possible second entry short. Depends what happens. May not even work. Or 1, 2. If it doesn't work there, maybe a triple test, I'd say. Or it could just flipping rocket up. Who knows? God knows what happens in these markets these days. It's all right. Another reason, this was looking like it may have had a breakdown, a new high. We're pulling down, maybe 1 attempt, 2 attempt, maybe like 2 attempts to go higher and then down, maybe try and retest these, but market might not have other ideas. Okay, let's see if there's some bigger channel here now. I'm just going to put that from there to there and then see where it falls. Hmm. Yeah, so it looks like we've got a leg up there, 2 legs back, and another leg. Leg. So overshoot, new high. It looks like we're going a bit sideways here. Right, are we going to trap this and come down, or are we going to continue on up? Channel break. Well, actually, we made a new high there by a tick, but second entry short to the highs. Yeah, it's just too risky, isn't it? I mean, it could rocket up, but we don't really know that, do we? I mean, it's definitely a bullish feel to it, isn't there? So it may do, but it's what is it? It's a toss of a coin whether that's going to give you points or not, isn't it? Could push up, trap some shorts, and come down here and bounce here. You just don't know. The picture here is a bit sketchy, isn't it? We got a channel here with an overshoot. We came back into the channel and then pushed up, made a new high, then we came down. But I suppose you could, is a W pattern any type of setup? I don't know. Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. For a minute, I thought even the NQ was looking slightly on the bearish side. Well, up until here, I thought, we actually? We got a leg and then a leg, but I think, in all fairness, it's just more rangy, really, isn't it? It's just less obvious. So we got a channel up there with a break, came down, same sort of thing, a bit of a W pattern, and there was that one. So I suppose the trouble is, to take that, you really want a higher low anyway, don't you? So, and the trouble is, getting a higher low above here, it's just one of those things, isn't it? We got ideas that it may push up, because it's got that feel to it. But there must be something now, surely. There's not far off. Okay, I'll probably take that down a little bit more. Probably to there. Mac does this, doesn't he? He pushes through sometimes, doesn't he? Just because we've had that little pop out. I don't necessarily think it's a main issue. I see Mac's chart sometimes looks tatty as hell, doesn't it? But we got 3 wicks there, which touch that line actually kind of nice. So yeah, maybe. I don't think it's a bad channel. It's probably not the most obvious one, is it? But so yeah, maybe. Anybody else got a channel similar to that? I clearly seem to be working up anyway. I certainly expect to get to this now. Yeah, we definitely seem to be on the air of bullish today, that's for certain. I'm just looking at Alpine. Wow, yeah, he got battered. Down another $22,500. No. He must have balls of steel. Okay, look at that. In fact, I can get that accurate. Right there, right there, right there. Oh, it's well past it now. So, yeah, it does seem like yeah, I mean, if you look at the NQ compared to this, the NQ is as good as a range day. I mean, it is starting to push up now. It's starting to have... So we've come from the bottom to the top to the bottom. We've only got so far off. We've come back and retested this area a couple of times, and then it's had a bit of a launch. So have a look. We're above these highs. This is the highest we've been for quite a while now, I think. So we're not a million miles away from all-time highs, I don't think. Where are we? Are they up in the 300s? Let me have a look. Where's the daily? Oh yeah, we got a bit to go yet. 228. Yeah, we are making a push for it, aren't we? There's the all-time highs there. So yeah, we're not a million miles away, are we? 2, 3. Yeah, we're only about 120 points, something like that. Seem polished, not off in a couple of days. Let's have a look. 103 points, 105, somewhere around about there, which is not a lot actually. So we've come down here. It's like a failure, isn't it? We're pushing up, a little bit of sideways here. If we get another leg, one leg, a little bit of sideways, another leg, we'll smash that. It'd be nice to get back up there quick. So, touch. Let me get a bit of colour here. So I can ditch that now. I think we don't need it. Let's tidy this chart up a little bit. So up, a couple of touches there, came down, touch, came down, a couple of touches there, and up again. So I can get rid of that now as well. So I like that. That was a nice trade, that was. We don't see a lot of them. Sort of triple test. That one worked. Trapping some longs there. High, low. There's going to be some longs in that. And that came down really nice. fact, I'm going to ditch that one. I think that's more like it. One of those double width channels, same again, push up, bearish bar. Even if you'd have sold, even if you'd have bought there, I'd want that a bit more bearish. But your 8 ticks would be down here, and that would work. Trouble is with these big, strong uptrends, they're ideal really for swing trading, aren't they? Get in at these areas and then hold them. Sometimes it'll stay. You know, it might not come into contact for the EMA for ages, and then when it does, it smashes through him. If you can get in here, places like that, something like that, and then hold them as they go. It's ideal for swing trading, isn't it, really? But unfortunately, I'm not a swing trader. Yeah, weird, isn't it? They look like two completely different. Well, I mean, they are completely different, but often they're so alike. But this looks completely different. Now, if this pushes up, obviously it's going to look, you know, maybe something like that. It probably is, but, you know, but at the quick glance, if you look at that, you're going to think range day. Quick glance, bullish day. So they're quite different, aren't they? So this definitely seems bullish. What's that? ATR's come down a little bit. Trip to the gym last night for the first time in months. Oh, my shoulders are sore. Oh, I'm getting old. Laufey, sorry mate, I didn't see you up there. Your account won't connect today. Sorry bud, I never missed your comment. I had problems with mine earlier. I opened some orders and they kept going bloody orange. Quite a few times. It is a bit unnerving. But what I tend to do is if you are any newish and you open orders, sometimes these can be finicky. If you're opening orders, open them up here, right up the top somewhere, or right down here out the way of price, because if they go orange, at least you've got time to sort of either cancel them or let them change before you use them. But I always like to sort of get a bar and just move it a couple of times sometimes. It is going orange, but it's dropping straight down to...
order cancelled.
Because when they go orange, especially if it's close to price, they can be a bit scary. interesting. Now, on that NQ, there is actually... Oh no, it's changed, sorry. It looked like there was a secondary long forming off that midline. We've got a brake, an attempt tyre and 2 legs down. Unfortunately, I can't get involved in anything here. So touch. I'd like to get a bit closer down here, I think. Little channel with a brake. I want to get down here really. Yeah, going long here is dicey. We've made 1, 2. We could have a triple test and then a bit of a drop. In fact, the way it's looking, I would expect us to get something like that, which would get us around this area, which I think in an uptrend is a good place to work from. It's another one of those setups there. This double wide bar, bearish bar, one tick off its low, crossed over, pushed up. It did push down a little bit, but it didn't. If you bought it there on that close, I put an 8 tick stop and an 8 tick profit there, so that worked. So there's one there that worked in these sort of double bars. That one I'd have taken. That one worked as well at that type of thickness. That one worked. Probably wouldn't have taken, it's probably a bit too early, but that one you can clearly see a channel. That one worked as well for 2 points. That one worked as well. Channel down there. Clearly see a nice little channel. Bullish bar, short it there, one tick, came straight down, major 2 points. So that you'd have got 2 points. That one you'd have got 2 points. That one you'd have got 2 points. That one you'd have got 2 points. So there's a lot of those trades around. That might be a bit wide. This type of one, it works. So there it worked, even that one, but that is a bearish bar. So we're clearly going up. That's the ideal width channel, that is. Just enough to get a couple of bars in, really. Push up, nice bearish bar, one took off its low, crossed over, straight up, 2 points. And that one as well. So what I might start doing is trading this in the evening just on a sim, just for an hour. Because it's okay spotting them after the fact, but in real time it's a different story. Having said that, that was the perfect size channel. You could clearly see that. So by the time that bar happened, you could clearly see we're in that channel anyway. So that worked perfectly. So if you bought right at the close of that bar, it triggered, pushed straight up. As soon as that bar closed, just buy it, and it worked. So I'm just practicing this on a sim. I'm just noticing at the moment, just noting it. But same again, nice little channel coming down. Bullish bar, not quite as bullish as I'd like it, but same again, crossed over, came straight down. And that one there, that's a perfect example, that is. Nice and bearish, little pullback, nice strong bullish bar, crossed over, tick, down. And I think when it ticks and comes down, it's even better because, you know, you're trapping any possible longs as well. And that came straight down. You'd have got 2 points straight away there. 2 points there. And 2 points there. So, you know, sometimes if our strategy, it's great to have another strategy. And it's very, very simple to explain that, really. It's not rocket science, is it? But what I like about it as well, I would do it on a 8 tick risk, 8 tick profit, so it's 1 to 1. And if you can get that to work 80% of the time, happy days. Okay, channel break, new high. Unfortunately, no real setup there. That channel now on the NQ is looking a bit better. Touch, but obviously we need to sort of start working around the bottom as well. So we do seem to be, hopefully, showing signs this is going to continue to get above this now. Because up until then it was really just ranging. Obviously this is showing a completely different picture. And we've pushed up from the lows, not a huge amount, but 35 points is enough. Okay, folks, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. Stretch my legs. 3 to 5 minutes, a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back. Okay. Okay, this thing's carrying on. It's gone too far for a higher low. We're at the highs anyway. We have got some news later. It's one of those bond auctions. These have only recently popped up on my charts about the last few weeks. I've not heard of them before. So whether there's something new. Volume Gine? What's that? Gine? Have you spelt something wrong there, ERP? Or am I missing something? Gone, I see what you mean. I was thinking Gine. Are you on about grind or something? Oh, yeah, it does a little bit, yeah. I'm just looking at this NQ at the moment, so touch, it fits really nice there. The only slight issue I have with this is if this is a bigger channel, touch, fitting lovely, but you'd expect it to drop, wouldn't you? So I don't know what I'm seeing here. Maybe if there is a bigger channel, I don't know, but yeah, it has gone a bit flat, isn't it? And sometimes the slower it gets moving up, and you get into trays like that, it goes woof and drops down like a dog. Boom. But there is a bigger channel up here somewhere. I mean, it's probably from the bottom, but sometimes when it goes like this, I think it's important not to forget the small stuff channel. Taking along from here, if there was something, or a higher level would be an option. Trouble is, if I have the chart drawn like that, I get put off taking a trade here because we look like we're close to the tops of this bigger channel, so I'll get rid of it. It makes you feel a little bit better. But yeah, sometimes, as we know, the slower it starts to go, the quicker it can just take a quick nose dive. Tell you what, it's hot again in the UK today. What's the temperature? I think it's about 23 degrees centigrade, which to some people might not seem a lot, but it's absolutely perfectly still out there on blue skies. It's lovely. Another day in shorts and flip-flops. That's what I like. It's great trading in this weather. 2 or 3 hours and you can get out in the garden. How many jobs can you work for 2 to 3 hours a day and then go out and drink a single malt with your feet up on the table in the garden? Not many. I love doing this when all my mates are out doing 9 and 10 and 12 hours, working their asses off. It'll make you sort of kind of feel lucky. Yeah, same again. Mac didn't mark many trades, I noticed yesterday. Let's have a little. How much did he mark? He's a lovely guy, isn't he, Mac? I do love listening to him. To be honest with you, he's done that well in life with money. He must get some awful emails sometimes. It does make you wonder why he doesn't just pack it all in, but I did hear him say once, he's a bit of a churchgoer, isn't he? He's quite religious, and he did say that if I made money from this, I wanted to give something back. I like that. It's a good attitude in life, that is, if you do well to help other people get on their feet. And he does cop a lot of shit from people. I don't doubt it for a minute. Did anybody hear him mention about that message he'd had from someone's wife saying he sucks or something, or I don't know, whatever it was, basically blaming him for her husband's shortfallings or something. Yeah, I think this was. Let me just make it a bit smaller. That's interesting. That's one of those channels where you may want to buy that. I wouldn't suggest it because the volume's going slow, but let's just see if that one worked for an example. So if you went long there's your risk, there's your profit. Let's see if it works. That's a little bit wider channel than I would like to do it in. That is a perfect size channel, but let's see if it works anyway. Where is it? There. So he didn't mark many trades, if I remember rightly. So 1, 2, 3, only 3 high probability trades, which is very low for Mac. 1, 2, 3. So it just goes to show you, if Mac, marks these high probability trades, and usually we can have, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 is average. That's 3. The day before as well, I think there was 5. So it is low. But the trouble is, when you're marking stuff like that, it's hard to take a short there because at the time, none of this exists. So you can't see that it's working down. After the fact, you can. So you could go, okay, I can clearly see it's working down there. You can't unsee that. So all of a sudden, the short there becomes, perfect. And same with that one as well, fell breakout. You don't know whether we're going to have a leg up and a leg up here somewhere because it's kind of bullish, isn't it? So... but he's only marked 3, which again is unusual. Yeah, I agree with that, mate. It has. Yeah, I mean, I thought we've seen bad weeks before, but yeah, it is. I think at the moment I'm about break even this week. I didn't do nothing Monday. Sorry, bank holiday Monday, wasn't it? So volume was low. I didn't take a trade Tuesday. Yesterday I had a win and a loss and was down, I think, about $190. So I'm up about $2 per account for the week. So, on an awful week, obviously we still got tomorrow to go, but yeah, break even on a week like this. There's worse places to be, put it that way. But yeah, it's not been the best one, has it, Bud? I agree with you. But we've had such a lot of strung upward movement, and I heard someone say after that, a lot of the times we do have a lot of sideways, a bit of consolidation, not many people buying. I don't know. I don't know whether this stuff, I'm reading stuff in the press every day. As soon as me flipping, I'm hearing stuff about Putin every bloody day. Putin nuclear this, you know what I mean? And it's, straight away I open the page, look at that. Putin says there's nothing unusual about tactical nuclear weapons. You don't know whether people are saying, I don't know, do I want to already put my money somewhere? Do I want to leave it in the bank? Do I want to invest it? You just don't know, because if something does happen over there and he gets a little bit heavy-handed, the market is likely to take a plummet. So clearly that one's not going to work. But as I said, that's a little bit of a wider channel, and not only that, I wouldn't even attempt taking that trade there, purely and simply because market price is getting really slow, and when it does that, often we have a drop. But I was just interested to see whether it would work there. But the type of trade that I'm mentioning is the perfect size channel, so that's the perfect bar for it. As soon as we get a bearish bar in a tight channel, just buy it and up it goes. Same there as well. But you're welcome, Akitra. You don't either. Yeah, you take it easy, bud. You take it easy. Don't want to trade these highs. Yeah. Most a lot of the time. When the market is bullish, the volume is very low. Yeah. We had that sell off. The volume was high. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, it has gone slow. As we know, when it goes slow, a lot of the times, I mean, if I'm looking for a setup and the market's going very slow, I tend to avoid it because I've been in trades like this before. You think, oh, is a trade. I'm desperately looking for a trade. There we go. There's one. Or there's a small risk there and you jump in and all of a sudden, wham. It does tend to clear out the cobwebs a bit. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about selling which feels safer for some reason. I don't know why. I suppose if we get negative news, market tends to go down quicker than if we get positive news. Is that a fair assumption or not? Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when the market's going down quick, I feel more comfortable taking shorts. This kind of finish, when the market's like this, if you're investing, you're kind of putting money in, aren't you? Whereas actually investing and trading are two completely different things, so that's not a very good example, to be honest with you. But yeah. It is slow. Having said that, I think we've had a little bit more volume. What time is it now? It's 4:15, so we're around about there. So, no, we've had a similar amount of volume, I think. Leg up, a couple of legs back, a little bit of sideways, push up, come back, retest. Couldn't get further down, and off we go. So we had 2 days of upwards, 2 days of sideways. So maybe now we're going to get some upwards. What I will say is that daily is looking bullish at the moment. I mean, we had that. Well, I mean, we had days and days, didn't we? Weeks there of strong movement. This was sort of the back end, really, the slow recovery from COVID, really. But then the market's gone dead positive. But we'd had a couple of legs down, hadn't we? Leg and a leg. And then, I don't know what was it. Started off strong now, so. How far this will get up. We had that little bit of a channel there, a little bit of sideways, but we're not far away from the all-time highs, so I'd be interested to see what happens, whether we do have some strong buying today, but it has plateaued out a little bit. Markets will remain at highs most likely until the elections. Yeah. Very political nightmare to market sell off. Yeah. When are the elections in the US? I know we've got ours this year. We had the local elections and Conservatives took a bit of a nosedive. So, in fact, there was I think it was in the House of Commons yesterday, someone defected, just walked from Conservatives over to Labour. So it's not looking good for Conservatives at the moment. I think we need a change, in all fairness. I'm not a fan of Rishi Sunak. I think if they got half a chance, they need to get Boris back. But it'd be weird, wouldn't it? Us having Boris and you having Trump. That would be weird, wouldn't it? I'm not sure elections. I think elections here have got to be before September. But I think there were calls for one yesterday. So I don't know. Obviously, Conservatives want to keep things as they are at the moment to give them a chance to try and recover from these locals. November, is it? Yeah. So I'm assuming Boris is running, isn't it? I didn't think he was allowed to because isn't he still in court at the moment? Mind you, having said that, I'm pretty sure you guys are the same as us, guilty and innocent until proved guilty. So, but he's not squeaky clean, I don't doubt it, but how many politicians are, in all honesty? How many politicians can say they've gone through their political career without breaking the law or breaking some rules or bending the rules? Not many, I'm guessing. Trump's a character, isn't he? He's like he almost reminds me of he's sort of like the American version of Boris. They're both kind of unusual characters, and I kind of like that though. It's a bit refreshing. I like Boris. He was a bit of a sort of I don't know what's the word, a bit of a drip in a way, but he's a very intelligent drip. I think Boris has a chance. It's hard to say. I don't think Boris will come down unless he's called to. But I heard someone say yesterday they need him back, but I don't know. He did put himself forward. I heard rumours he was doing it last year, but then I heard him say that no, he was just back in Rishi. But you never quite know in politics what's going to happen. But I think his mistake was all this the party stuff during lockdown. Now, as far as I'm concerned, who didn't break the rules during lockdown? Every person broke the rules in one way. They bent the rules, whatever. You were supposed to not go within 2 metres of people over here in the UK. That was near damn impossible. You weren't allowed to see your families. I mean, come on. I think the first time we adhered to the rules a bit, but the second time, when we had a second lockdown, I think, but trouble is, when you're running a country, there's one hell of a lot of pressure on you. You get it wrong, So, am I going to crucify the guy for having a drink in a garden with a few other people? I don't give a toss, to be honest with you. But then it's politics. I mean, if you look at them in the House of Commons, they're like a bunch of kids at school arguing. It's all about political point scoring. That's all it is. They do something wrong, Labour jump on them. Labour do something wrong, Conservative jump. It's all a sort of a private schoolboy game, if you like. But it's all about scoring points, isn't it? Really. Small risk, second entry long. That one there. Would I take that one? It's actually not looking too bad on the NQ, to be honest with you. So you may be right there, bud. Second entry long. How far it'll go up, I don't know, but I think you'll get some points here. But it is going a bit sideways here. Ideally, you want to get above there, do you? It doesn't seem to be pushing up in a hurry. I'd be inclined to get out for 6 ticks, I would, guys. Bill auction, 9 minutes. What auction? Bill auction in 9 minutes. I'd say that is probably medium impact news. Generally, I'd probably be inclined to get out of that chat. It may be okay, but it's just not looking good now, is it? It's probably medium impact news. In fact, I don't even think it's medium impact news. I have medium impact on my chart, and I've got nothing at the moment. Let me just. I wasn't aware there was any today. Let me just have a look. It's actually not looking too bad on the NQ. So if it goes up on the NQ, it'll follow on the ES. That's still more than... you want about this, the bond auction. It's all right, you said bill auction. I'm thinking, is that something different? Yeah, bond auction. Sorry, yeah, 6 o'clock UK time, so it's an hour and a half away yet, so you're okay at the moment. It's something new, this. I'd not seen this up until maybe a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago. Bond auction. Yeah, it's an hour and a half away yet. 6 o'clock, well, 6:01 UK time. It's only 22 minutes past 4, so you... yeah, I hope you're out of that, Chad, are you? It's a bit scary, isn't it? Trouble is, you've got this bigger channel, which kind of is, you've got all this vacant area. It may trap some shorts on that fell and push up. It actually doesn't look terrible on the NQ. Second entry long. You could even call that 1, 2, 3 a triple test. So I'd think it'd be likely we'd break these highs here. So you may get away with it, but I'd have probably got out by now. but I haven't got big balls. So trouble is on that NQ, we are very much in the top, so we could get a leg and a leg. This thing's flickering, which would make me nervous. So I'm hoping you're out by now, are you? So if you got in there, there's not much, is there? It is a second entry long, but they're just not reliable at the moment. I mean, a second entry long off the key entry point in an uptrend, why would that fail? Purely and simply, I think because we've come off these highs and I'm expecting a leg and a leg. And as I say, we've got these big area, this big vacant area. I think they're unreliable lately. I do second entry longs, second entries. I tend to wait for the higher low. If we get a higher low here, then that's a good indication we're going up. But another second entry long off the EMA would have stopped you out. Yeah, it would have done. I just get a feel for it now. It didn't even entertain my head to get into that for some reason. I just look at it and I don't like it. The trouble is we've had this channel, we've had a break, and we've had about 3 pushes to a new high. So we could start working down to here now. Not only that, if you look at this NQ, if you think that's a channel, we've got a touch, loads of touches there. It looks good to me, but the trouble is we're in this top section, this top tier, so it could come back to the midline, or indeed it could go sideways or come over to this side. It's hard to say at the moment. So that second entry long there is likely going to hold, I think. It looked better on here because that was a triple test. 1, 2, 3. Triple test on the NQ, second entry long. So I'd expect that to work. Unfortunately, it was a little bit different here. It is frustrating when it takes you out for a few ticks and ends up doing what you expected it to. But I think there is probably a channel there. You could say there's a channel and a channel, which there may be. Yeah, I don't think you can argue with that. But the trouble is, we've only really touched this twice, although it visually looks great. So I'd like to see it get close to this area, or at least to go sideways until we get close to it. So there's a higher low now on the NQ, but I just don't like this. As I say, we're right at the very top of this channel, so continuing to push it is risky, I think. There is a higher low, but I'm not a fan of it. It may work. Depends how you've got your channel. So little channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. They just don't excite me, these second entry type trades anymore. I always wait for the higher lows. Like you need to take trades in the first couple of hours after the market opens these days. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about trading later in the day. Is that any different? I mean, I tend to finish usually. I think 3 hours is a long day to me, which is around about 5:30 UK time, which is around about 12:30 Eastern time. So you've still got a few hours, really. I notice sometimes later in the day you get a rally. We didn't really yesterday, but sometimes you get a good strong rally. And often there's this setup in there, but I don't know how many hours you guys trade. I think 3 is enough for me. I have considered maybe going away and having something to eat and coming back. Maybe I will in time, but I think at the moment up to 3 hours is about right for me. If I can build accounts and turn, become consistent over time, and maybe over the next year, 18 months, 2 years, something like that, I may come back and do it. Yeah, 3 hours. That's tend to be maximum. On the odd occasion, I'll go over a little bit, but usually 2:30 to 5:30 UK time. I've been going 2 hours now, and I'm quite fine. But I know I spoke to Marco once. He said 3 hours, and he's like a zombie. But yeah, I kind of like 3 hours, but there's nothing that says you can't, come back, maybe have an hour off, go and have some, a bit of dinner or something. I've got the long, small hammer for 2 points. 2 points. You know about that one? Long, small hammer. Oh, that one. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah. You got a little break, 2 pushes down to a new low, yeah. It doesn't really interest me, that. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere a bit, and it's hard to know, but yeah, I don't know what it was all about then, but that's what I mean. There's so many different ways to trade. I mean, after that little break, we've clearly got 2 pushes down and a bullish bar. In all fairness, it's not exactly a big risk, is it? So that might suit some people. If you went a tick above it, and a tick below it, I mean, look at that. It's a 1.5 risk maximum. Maybe not even that. Yeah, I mean, a 1.25 risk. That one there, yeah, maybe. Trouble is, my slight concern was something like that, but it's a small risk, so yeah, I get taking it. My slight concern is we do something like this, we have a little break and come down to here. It's hard to say, but frustrating to read direction, right, just to find it stopped and I fell too long off the EMA just to watch it go. Yeah, I know, I hate that. That one there, you take that one, triggers you, stops you out, and then rockets up. Yeah, it's frustrating, that. Yeah, that is a little bit no man's land, isn't it? It's kind of on its own, isn't it? But if you want to trade it as a break and 2 pushes down, just for the sheer size of it, you could squeeze that one as a 1.25 risk. But my worries about there is exactly what it is. It's in the middle of no man's land. It could go up, it could come down. See, sometimes, I mean, when I first started trading, I traded currency. And our strategy was to go through the various currency pairs. We'd find a weak currency against a strong currency. Hey, presto, you got a trend. And we'd be trend followers. Now, my experience of trending channels, sometimes they can be the most difficult to trade. There's the least amount of setup sometimes. Now, obviously, as a swing trader, you wouldn't agree. I mean, you may decide to buy there, or when that came back, you may decide to buy that and hold it. But from a Pat's point of view, a trending market isn't necessarily an easy market. The one sort of bonus, I suppose, is if you make a bit of a mistake, the fact that it's going in that direction, sometimes can help you out. Normally wouldn't take it, but with a foot, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely get that. Yeah, I've heard Max say that many times. It's such a small bar, you just got to take it. So yeah. Not only that, I often see this. We push up, and then we have a correction. It's exactly what it is. 2 perfect legs down. Not only that, it's a small channel with a break. Market likes to move in 2, so we got 1, 2 pushes down. You're probably going to maybe even trap some shorts there. There's probably going to be shorts there. So for the sake of that, I mean, even if you buy right on the nail and put your stop a tick below, you're risking a point. So I get it being an absolute no-brainer. Yeah, I do. It's not my type of trade, but, we've all got different levels of risk. Some people might jump all over that every day, and it's probably going to work 80% of the time, maybe. But for the risk, you can risk 1-to-1 and be out here. It's not often as a Pats trader you can get a 1-to-1 risk nowadays. But yeah, that's the thing with trading, is there's so much grey area. Every single trader interprets this slightly different, and that's the kind of the interesting way. We've all got a very unique way of looking at risk and price. This is the most grey area job I've ever seen in my life. Euro USD used to be quite good these days. Strong breakouts. Yeah, I mean, we used to use a bit of software called what's it called? The Andrew Lockwood, the British trader, worked for banks years ago. What's it called? It was a piece of software, and we had like loads of coloured lines going sideways and in zigzags, and they would all represent a different currency, and the ones that were high on the chart were strong, the ones that were weak on the chart were at the lows, and you just trade. Be quite a simple way of finding out a currency pair that was trending. And then I think we'd trade with it was the 8, 13 and 21 day moving averages, and if it came back into the 8 but didn't look quite bullish but didn't touch the 13 or something, and then we'd take a long there, we'd put a stop so many pips behind here and so on and so forth. But there is so many different strategies, and in most cases most strategies will work. I don't think there's necessarily any particular strategies that, well, there probably is, but it's not the strategy really. One thing I've learned, it's the person trading them. If you're the most patient person in the world, you can accept a loss. You'll do well with any strategy really. But as we all know by now, it's the psychological side and the discipline. I consider myself quite disciplined at the moment and pretty patient, but I find myself sometimes getting into some sketchy trades. I try and have a self-assessment thing now. If I remember, how do I feel? Do I feel impatient? Am I looking to get into a trade as opposed to waiting for one to happen? More patience can, yeah, it certainly bloody does. There's a lot more hard work involved, and there's a lot more searching, isn't there? I mean, I had, what is there, 6 majors. I had all the majors on one screen. I had all the minors on the other screen. And then if you were looking at a trade, you had to have maybe 2 or 3 different time frames, and you just had charts everywhere. I got 4 screens, and I still had a laptop going, and I was still struggling. But yeah, it does seem a little bit more work, but I suppose it depends what you're used to. But when I went from trading currency to trading one chart, one time frame, it was an absolute breath of fresh air. But if you're a good trader, really, I mean, we talk about indices, you talk about currencies and all this sort of thing. They all trade exactly the same, really. It's human behaviour, isn't it, really? There's no real difference. If you can trade a strategy on one, you'll be able to trade it on most things, really. Your strategy is a set of rules when you enter and exit. But all this stuff with futures and stuff, it's no different, really. The only thing about futures which is different maybe for you US guys is with the pattern day trading rule, but there's no difference between trading futures or trading currency, really. We're looking for setups. You make money exactly the same way, really. I saw Riley Coleman and Michael Chin trading this. I just spent so much time searching for something to trade And then I saw these two US traders, Michael Chin and Riley Coleman, trading the S&P 500 futures contract. One chart, one time frame. That was it. And I started watching those for a few months and started trying to understand what they were doing. And then it blew me away, the fact that it was just so, it was a breath of fresh air from having charts everywhere. And that's how I started. I was about to pay $300 odd for the course, and then, I don't buy a toaster without getting a review. And I found out that they'd learnt from Mac and kind of repackaged this product, and then I found out Mac charges a grand total of $125 per year, and that was it. I've never looked back. It is tough, but it's not really the strategy. It's learning to trade, really, and understand the markets. Yeah. Not only that, we did a bit of swing trading as well and more intraday trading, and waiting 2 days for a trade to come through. I was just looking at the charts every 30 seconds. But this, you guys know me by now. You know I'm quite a wired person. I was a bricklayer for a while. You want to see me lay bricks? I can lay bricks like you can't believe. Because I'm wired, I don't do anything slowly. So, scalping, quite quick moving markets tend to sort of work with my brain. Okay, 2 perfect legs back. And now we're retesting this line. So, leg and a leg. So, are you going to take this? I tend to wait for the higher low, I do. But actually, it's not a bad looking trade, that. I'm still going to wait for the higher low just out of habit now. I'm trying to trade only Euro USD, but it gets too hectic doing both. Yeah, some people just trade one, really, don't they? And trading the S&P 500, trade the Nasdaq, trading the dollar and the euro. If you're trading if you're scalping, you can just trade one. Some people do, but I didn't do enough of it really to sort of get. I did about for 6 months. I did a mentorship with a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who is a great trader and an absolute top guy. But he worked in the London Stock Exchange during the 80s, and he worked for Swiss Bank and a bunch of others. He spent so many years in Singapore, and he's done well out of trading. And then I think he was in the Far East in 2000 when everything started to go more computerized, and he realized he could do his own thing from his own home. Good position to be short here. Trouble is, from a Pat's point of view, there's no indication that we're necessarily coming down here. From a price action point of view, yeah, 2 legs, but how far we're coming down. In fact, I could probably even adjust that a fraction to make that fit. Yeah, I can. So touch, perfect touch. Let's see what happens now. Not only that, let me have a look at this NQ. This NQ maybe 1, 2. You could call this a triple test if this finishes bullish. But it's not filling me full of confidence. I tend to wait for the higher low. That's better confirmation now. But that is a correction, isn't it? Touch. Yeah. We may get a bit more of a breakout here. I have a feeling this is going to come out of this channel. do a bit of sideways, and that would coincide with this, because if we do go sideways on this NQ, we may go, oh, that's the trouble is with the channel. I kind of like it. Look how many times we touched on the top. Touched nice there, but really you want it to come back, so we may go a bit sideways or have a couple of legs and come down. If we can come down to here, trouble is if we do get down this far, we're going to get out, aren't we? So, which tells me we may just do a little bit of ranging for a bit. Maybe we have a correction, something like that, leg, and then maybe some more bullish. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of think that's not bad. Touch on the bigger channel. In fact, I actually like that better than that. I think that visually looks nice. We've got a nice touch, perfect touch, close enough. Maybe a leg and a leg, maybe then a leg back, a push up, and then crawling up this line, which would probably coincide with getting maybe here somewhere. So maybe we are getting a bullish, you know, we need to at least come to this side, don't we? We've been up here close again, so oh, so your idea of shorting up here, is that where you said it? Probably wasn't a bad call, but that's the thing, we've all got different strategies and different ways of looking at the market, haven't we? So what might look really good to you might not to me. I tend to think sometimes that everyone here always trades pattern. They haven't, you know, slightly changed or adjusted. I got a message from someone once, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, said instead of just trading Pat, why don't you trade yourself? Trade your own way. He said, I see you saying we're coming back to you and then we're going to push up, and we do. So why don't you start trading in, you know, instead of thinking what would Mac think, what would this, why not use your own sort of judgment and instinct? Which I've never really done, to be honest with you. So I'd say we're definitely going to get some sideways stuff for now. So I've put that down there as a place that may it may slip up or bounce off. It's hard to say. It's interesting that it's gone below there and popped back up. Not that I would go long there, because to me we're still in that channel. Yeah, see, we're moving to this side of it now on the NQ, which is good. Good thing about the NQ is it does move a bit quicker and it seems to go a further distance. So we were up here when we were here, so my concern was by the time this gets over here, we're going to be out this channel, but I don't think we are. This is looking kind of nice. We got a perfect touch. It's fitting beautifully up that top, so that looks like a leg and a leg. We're in this area now where I expect it, hopefully, to start to continue up, which coincides exactly what we're looking at here. We've moved over to this side. Look where that's sat there. I haven't moved that. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're showing all the right signals here. Okay, so it's a small bar. That is 6-tick bar. Is that going to push up? I wouldn't be shocked. I'm staying out of it at the moment. One, it's in that channel, which may not make a difference, but I always like to maybe at least attempt to break the lows and then maybe catch a higher low on the way up. It's actually a small risk, isn't it? If you can jump in right on the nail, you'd have probably got in. 1 tick below there. So that looks like it's working. It's certainly got 6 ticks off it anyway. And that's my concern, it comes back. I either want it to make a higher low or at least attempt to just wick below these two. Okay, you may even say there's been a small break there. It's hard to say. See if we get a higher low here. Okay, so on that NQ, we're actually on this channel now, so that's positive, and now we're starting to push up. So you may even say touch, small overshoot there. And now we're on the bottom of this, touch. Look, see what happens. Your stop's still intact if you got in there. You added a volume explosion indicator today, which worked so far. A volume explosion indicator. So what I do like so far is we're holding 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Nothing's come below there. There's a little triple bottom. So far, so good. Is it going to hold? So channel with a break. We've made a matching low there. There's a little triple touch there. So are you going to hold or are you going to drop? It's broken below there, so if you got in there, I think it went up 6 ticks in a squeeze, I think, but it's just too risky, that, really. You've got to wait for it to start moving. So if you got in 1 tick above it, you may have not got a 1.5. It's just risky there, especially when it's still in this channel. So, channel break, new low. Now, I'm going to adjust this to there. Let's have a look. And then bring this into play to there. So, maybe a little spike in the channel, touch, touch, touch. You have a smaller channel based on the 10,000 tick chart. Got that here. Oh no, it's not the daily, sorry. It's what about that one, are you? Feeling about that. So, yeah, I thought as much. So, judging by that one, we'd expect a new high. It's hard to say at the moment. I've just adjusted this. It fits really nice at the top. We got. You could say then that is a little spike in a channel. We've pushed up, touched it with those 2 little bars, 2 little touches there, touch there. Got some nice touches there. Same again there. Channel break, new low. So, are we going to push up or is something different happening? So, in all fairness, if you looked at the NQ, you're thinking range day with a breakout that failed. So, same again, we're doing what we did there, holding. Let's put that back. Sometimes you take away a bigger channel, it makes it look a bit more refreshing. Definitely lower volume again, considering how well the market's moving. It's not really choppy, it's flowing, and usually when it's flowing there's a lot more volume. It's when it starts to go sideways consistently that the volume drops. There are areas of chop here, but mainly they were overnight. And since we've opened, which was around about here, we're flowing. Up, down, up, down, up. We're flowing quite well, which you would think would encourage a little bit more money coming in, but obviously not. I went back on your live to check that second entry long that failed. We've been trying to figure out why it did. What's your take on it? The second entry long. Are you on about the one on the NQ, bud, are you? You on about the second entry long on the NQ? That one there. Oh, on the ES. Second entry long. That one there. Why did that one fail? One you skipped. Was it that one? Or was it that one? First one. Is that the one you mean? That second entry there? Or earlier or later? Work out what time it was, bud. You can tell me what time. If you look on my time, half an hour ago. Half an hour ago, second entry long. That one there, yeah? Why did that one fail? So we've had this channel. Yeah, we've had this channel. We've had a break and we've had 1, 2, 3 pushes up to a new high. And it does seem to look like it's coming down for a bit now, yeah? And not only that, if you add this as a channel, you're right at the top of it. So let's put that to there. There. So let's have a look. Where was it? It was there, wasn't it? It just doesn't look right to me for some reason. Channel break 1, 2, 3 pushes up. We're struggling with momentum there, I think. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to put your finger on it. I just don't like the picture. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. But we got a little channel. You'd expect a new low, which we did. But EMA's flat. It's right on there. It just doesn't strike me as in a place which would excite me. After the channel break, there is a new low. Yeah, that's actually the new low, isn't it? But what I will say is market likes to move in twos. So this is something I never really paid much attention to. When we get a break, we often don't just make a new low. We have 2 legs down to it. And if you look, there's the first leg and there's the second leg, and then it went up. So just keep that in mind. Just be aware. That's why I don't take very many second entries now. Always wait for the higher low. Give it a chance to trap you. If you'd have went long there, it triggered you, stopped you out. So give it a chance to do that. If it doesn't and continues on, take the higher low, and that's a better indicator. So second entries are just unreliable. Now there is a certain context where they look better. But that's just not right there. So we got a little channel down there with a break, 1 leg down, 2 legs down. Remember, markets like to move in twos. We had a break there, 1 leg down, 2 legs down before we moved up. So we had a break there, 1 leg down, 2 legs down. Sometimes it'll work, but just avoid that one unless we've had 2 legs. But even so, I don't even take them anymore. Especially being that low, but it worked. So yeah, just that's the best way. There's always a reason with price action. I've noticed that there was a lot, going back a couple of years, half the time I didn't know, but I can always look now and work out why it didn't work. But yeah, break, 1, 2 pushes down. Remember, 2 legs, 1 leg, 2 leg. There's 2 legs in here. 1 leg, sideways, 1 leg. Here, there's just 1 leg with a break and then another leg. But in here, push down, sideways, push down. So there's 2 legs. So we've had a break here, 1 leg, 2 leg, and we've pushed up 1 leg, 2 leg, and another small leg there. But so just keep in mind, just And not only that, EMA's flat. It's just got wrong to look at. It just doesn't look right to me. But yeah, that's the reason there, really. I think you'll just get to the idea of, you'll just get the feeling that it just doesn't look right, because once you've taken a bunch of those, new low created and the retest, yeah. Once you've taken those again and again and again, I'm just agreeing that one. Yeah, it is. You will get to the stage. I used to get trapped in these all the time, and it used to infuriate me. But what I'll say is, look at a loss or a trap, which is another reason why you better be on a sim, because it's better to learn your lessons without it costing money. You don't want lessons learned when it's costing you money. Save those lessons for when you're consistent. But I used to get trapped in them, and it used to wind the shit up at me. And the reason it used to do it is because I was risking money. But yeah, I notice now, after you've done this and lost so many times, you do learn. You don't think you do, but you do. So, you get so frustrated and you walk away thinking, damn, but what you're forgetting is you're learning. So, try and put a loss down to as a positive thing. You don't have to write it down or make a mental note. Trust me, if you've got money in there, you're not having a quick glance at this. Your eyes are focused on that. And if you take a trade there and that loses, it'll wind you up. So straight away, that'll be a picture in your memory bank. And when you've got half a dozen or so pictures like that in your brain, the next time that picture arises, you'll go, something doesn't feel right. And that's a really good indication. And you'll start then. I avoid traps really well now. Occasionally I'll get stuck in them, but it's the best way to learn is to lose. You get way more from your losses than you do from your wins. Your wins, you're excited, you move on. Your losses tend to bug you, and it will stick in. The way I describe it is, you've got like a memory bank of images in your head, and that image will stay in your head, that picture. A flat EMA, one leg down, and then maybe when you've lost this, I don't know, 20, 30 times, whatever, you'll start to think, this picture, you've driven through a city years ago, just the once, and you'll drive through again and think something's familiar. And that's what it is. You'll get that familiar feeling that'll make you feel uneasy. That's how I get it. I don't like the look of this. It's a nervous feeling, and I stay out of it, and I avoid them now. And if you look sometimes when you get these, and I'm thinking, why doesn't Mac mention them? Because he's avoided them for that long, his brain doesn't even compute that people may get trapped, so he just doesn't talk about them. But it's a great lesson, though, Thomas, it really is. But I still get caught out, but nowhere near. You'll see me avoid those because it looks like a trap. And the only reason I know that is because I've been stuck in the damn things that many times. But it's how you learn. So, what are we seeing here now? Are we going up or not? There is a little bit of... There may just be a bigger channel. We got a channel, a break. 1, 2 pushes down to a new low, and a retest followed by a higher low. So I would prefer to get a second entry short here, which triggers and pushes up for a failure for me to go long. I'm not just taking that. I like to give it a chance to trap me and come down and stop me out. Going up, yeah, I think so. We're bullish, aren't we? What's it looks like it's going up as well, the NQ. The only slight reason that I won't take this higher low, or actually it's a failure, is because this is still very rangy, so it could go up here and come down for another leg. It's possible. I don't think it will, but I'm not confident enough. But I want it above the EMA, really. I mean, if we're going to break these highs, there's plenty of distance to do it. So if we can get something here. But yeah, that bar is technically a failure. And it did trap the short, but it's broken above the short. At the moment, we're still under the EMA and the NQ. So I'm still not in the market to take anything. May just rock it in a minute. My concern is it triggers that, comes down and tries to retest this before it goes higher. I'm hoping to get a bearish bar here which triggers. And then catch it on the trap. See this NQ at the moment. We've got a channel here with a break. 2 pushes down to a new low. 1 push and another smaller push there. And there is a higher low. That's all good and well. Just back to the EMA though. When it gets to the EMA, I'd like to think we're going to push up. Is this one of my dual channels, double channel setup? And my only slight concern here is once, twice. There is a second entry short there, but that's not an attractive trade. We're in the channel there at the moment, see, so there is a high low. That one might have been worth it back to the EMA, but in fact, there is a failure there, but it's always nicer to trap something. Just not sure if this bullish momentum is slowing a bit. Okay, now we may be getting a little bit of a lift. No. Oh, I don't know. I don't think it really matters too much. So we've had a break and we're pushing up. My concern is we're finding a bit of support here. Excuse me. Nothing worse than slow price action. It's like trading at bloody night at the moment. I tried that once, trading overnight. It's probably the worst experience of my life. It's so slow. I don't know, you can trade out of hours, can't you? But I wouldn't advise on a 2000 tick chart because you're probably going to have that in about 3 hours. But you can obviously a minute chart or something. It's still tradable. But I wouldn't suggest doing it with this. You'll end up falling asleep before you make any money. Okay, so I think it was inevitable we'd have a little pullback. So that's that one gone. It's just going up too slow, really, to make that worthwhile. Will it come back to that? I'd like to say no, but I don't know, actually. That one was a weaker setup. That one is like a failure trap in that. A lot of times, the better setups, their stops usually stay intact because there's probably more. The more stops behind there, the probably safer it is, really. So channel break. If we get a higher low here, my concern this is dropped when it's getting close to this. If we can get a nice looking higher low, then that may interest me. Okay, let's see what reaction we get to this. See, looking at this NQ, I like this. We've got a channel down here. There's probably going to be some shorts in there. And if this pushes up above there, that then will give it the momentum to get into here. So that's not looking too bad. It is a bit congested here, but it is looking like it's going to work. And if it does get above there, then that's good news. I don't know if we're going to get our high or low there. I just don't like how slow it's going up. And that concerns me. I mean, for sure there's going to be traders trying to pick a top up here, isn't there? We're getting close to breaking above here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a high or low on this NQ. We're that close to this top now. $10,000 tick chart is looking like it should break, looking like it's pushing up. Yeah, see, we're already at those highs now on that NQ. We're about to break them. In fact, we have done by, oh, no, not yet, but I think we will. There's no second entry or anything really there. There's the failure. It's just a break and a first entry really, so unfortunately I was hoping we may get something here. Nothing worse than it being slow. Just makes trading a little bit more. I'll be impressed if Mac has a lot of trades today. Yeah, see, normally, even on a bad day, Mac will still have 8 or 10 trades. He had 3 high probability trades last night, and I think 4 or 5 the day before. So it's not just us who've noticing trading's a little bit tough lately. It has been a pretty naff week. The trouble is, when it gets like this, sometimes you think, am I the only one not taking trades here? And sometimes you can lose your patience. But there's definitely a couple of days, you'll have to, yeah, probably. There's definitely been a couple of days where I shouldn't have taken a trade. I mean, Monday was the bank holiday, so volume was low anyway. So I walked away from the market. Tuesday, I never took a trade. Wednesday, I took a win and a loss. Today, I've taken a win, so I'm only really at break-even. I think I'm a couple of dollars per account above break-even this week. And in all fairness, the week's been that bad. I think being at zero or maybe $20 over my accounts is not the worst place to be, put it that way. But we've always got tomorrow. If I can get a trade tomorrow, if I can get one trade tomorrow, I'm going to pack it in there, and then at least I can go into the weekend with a couple of $100 per account up and in the green. I always like to end Friday in the green. It just makes for a better weekend. Although it doesn't affect me now, losses. I don't like taking losses. I get a feeling that it's just uncomfortable, but I don't react stupidly and out of control like I used to. But I still don't like taking them. But I was surprised he only had three setups last night, or 3 high probability setups. So if he found 3, I'll be surprised if he took any more than 1 himself. Classic Mac, yeah. He's a good one, isn't he, Mac? He is. He's a nice guy, actually. He puts a lot in for us. He does. He puts a lot of effort into trading, and for very little, he doesn't make a lot of money, does he? $125 is what he's really making per person per year. But you think how much time and effort he puts into the videos. You make nothing on YouTube unless you're getting millions of videos. I'll be surprised if he makes £60, £70 a month from YouTube, which is nothing for Mac. Break even this week, I'm hovering around 50. Yeah. In all fairness, if you get a really bad week and you end up break even, I don't think it's a bad place to be. It's much better than being in the red, because there are days where you could have got chopped up. There really is. Trades are pretty tight. Yeah. You know, we go through phases. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, there seemed to be loads. I took, there was quite a few. There was 3 or 4 really good setups in over a couple of days. 3 weeks ago, I took 3 trades within 30 minutes, which isn't unheard of. So we do go through phases. Sometimes we'll have a tough week, and then we may get, I think it averages itself out, doesn't it? But the thing is, you've got to muster all your skills. I mean, I used to avoid picking tops and bottoms and triple tests, but triple tests I use now. We haven't had a triple test for a few days. I think 3 trades I had 1 week were all triple tests. I always avoided them, but I don't know why. But they've been really, really profitable for me. But I just find second entries just so unreliable now. I think you're always safer to look for that higher low. I know sometimes you won't get a higher low, but some second entries I will take. Some are blatantly obvious, but they're just not as reliable. So we are struggling at the moment. I'm not a fan of when it's struggling to get up. I say this every day. You get into a trade like that, and all of a sudden, when it's slow, so it'll just drop like that one did. If you took that trade thinking you were pushing up, what happens? Triggers it, drops, stops you out. So this is not the type of speed of the market I like to get into trades. And I'm up today, see? It's not been a bad day today. I got a nice $200 per account minus fees. So last thing I want to do is give that away. I hate giving back profit. And I think if I get a winning trade, chances are I'll only do 1 trade that day anyway. I can guarantee walking away with a profit today. See, if I carry on. In fact, I'm about done actually. We're a minute off 3 hours, so that's my 3 hours. And this market's slow. There's nothing worse. It's struggling at the moment. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have a quick flush down. Just looking at NQC, there's going to be longs in there for sure. But look what's happening. We're getting up, we're dropping, we're getting up, we're dropping. Is this going to just come plummeting down? Have we got a leg with a triple test? In fact, even is there a triple test to go short? This market looks like it's ready to plummet, doesn't it? So look, 1, 2. I wouldn't be shocked if this comes down, breaks below there. We could have a leg down, break, and another leg. You just don't know. I mean, the bigger picture for me is this channel, but you can draw it so many different ways. I mean, we got a channel here with a break and a new high, so technically the market could reverse. This looks okay, but it doesn't look great. Yeah, there may be a higher low. I'm just not confident in this market at the moment. This is struggling. It's wicky. If this comes down below there, it'll come down a bit quicker. And getting into a higher low, this looks like it's struggling to me, and that's making me nervous. Long is the last thing I'm thinking about doing on this chart. And if this cut does come flushing down, which it looks like it's about to, you can kiss goodbye to that trade. When it starts to flicker like that, sometimes it'll just come careering. It may hold. There's obviously a battle going on. There's no argument there. I mean, there is a higher low. I'm probably out for today. gonna get some sun. I don't blame you, mate. We've got some warm weather here, Thomas, so I'm assuming you're a bit further south, aren't you? So I'm assuming it's a bit warmer. It's about 23 degrees centigrade in the UK today, which is pleasantly warm. There's very little wind, which makes it even hotter. So yeah, I bet it is. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Nice Wiki entry point. Yeah. My trouble is, my concern is it's struggling to get up, and I hate getting into a trade when that happens, because it straight away, when I think about getting into a long in a slow moving up trending market, it fills me full of dread. So I'm just going to hang around for a few more minutes and see what happens here, because if it does end up bullish, it'd be interesting to see what happens. You're welcome, my friend. Anytime. Anytime. Yeah, you too, bud. Yeah, what's this doing, folks? We're wicking. If that comes below there, game over, I think. You done for the ARP? Yeah, you take it easy, bud. I'll be finished in a minute. I just want to see what happens here. I mean, that never formed anyway. It's just not filling me full of confidence, this. Is this going to drop? In fact, you done, are you? Yeah, you take it easy, Ryan. Let's call you Ryan instead of private. PR. Let's have a look. Yeah, the volume is lower today. There's no arguing there, is there? Let's just save my chart. It's the 9th. I can't believe it's the 9th of May already. Holy hell. It really doesn't seem 5 minutes since Christmas. All right, let's just watch this. There's a lower high there. Ooh, look at that. Would you take that? I wouldn't personally, but in all fairness, I think that's the trade that's going to work. And not only that, on that NQ, we're below there. Let's see what happens now if it does come tumbling down or if it turns. There is a lower high there, so we've got a channel with a break. Lower high, but that's a big ass bar, that is. It's 3.25 points. It ain't finishing yet, so I'm not taking that. Is it going to get down here? It's taken that stop out. Will it get that one? When we had that other drop down before, it didn't get that one. It may not get this. Let's see if that one stays safe, yeah, high or low. If it gets below there, I think we may be having a couple of legs down. So possible second entry long doesn't interest me. Okay, I'm going to leave it with you, folks. If you are carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope you get a setup. But it's slow. I've done my 3 hours now. I'm pleased. I'm up for the day. Always nice to be. One trade, superb. I'm pleased with that. So there you go. So, have a good rest of the day. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and I'll be back again tomorrow, Friday, another week done. Man, these weeks are going flying by, aren't they? In fact, that NQ now is looking kind of nice and bullish now, isn't it? Look at that, striving now. That might have been what it needed, just a bit of a flush down. So I wouldn't be shocked if that now goes woof. But I'm done anyway. So have a great evening. I'll be back tomorrow. So take care, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.